There are countless instances of dishonest, wicked, and even law-breaking officers, but what happens when these cops actually get busted? Here are 4 cases of police officers who came to the grim realization that they were heading to prison, starting with Tyler Moody, who's about to receive the surprise of his life after being led into the interrogation room.
Have you offered your resignation or not?
I can keep my job and no.
Well, you can't keep your job, okay?
An inmate accused of homicide was found with a cell phone and charger. When confronted, Tyler instantly caved and admitted to his actions. He thought he would simply be terminated, but he was soon to learn that smuggling contraband carries a far more severe penalty.
Every citizen that we have the privilege to serve, and you've betrayed the trust of the brave and selfless men and women that you've worked alongside for nearly 3 years. So as of this moment, you're under arrest for bringing a prohibited item, a cell phone, into a correctional facility. That's a 3rd-degree felony.
Giving an inmate a cell phone comes with a 1-year jail sentence, and that's precisely where Tyler is now, doing time in the very place he once worked as a police officer. But unlike Tyler, Stephanie Lazarus didn't get off anywhere near as lightly.
Now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
After years of inquiries, DNA proof indicated that Stephanie was most likely responsible for a homicide that took place in 1986. Due to the sensitive and high-profile nature of the case, the investigators carefully strategized the interrogation. Stephanie was an accomplished investigator herself and had recently earned praise for her excellent work on a burglary case, so the detectives used this as a pretense and called her in under the impression that they needed assistance with an investigation.
I don't want to talk about this in the squad room because I don't know who people are listening, and if we go to my side, everybody's always wondering what everybody else is doing.
No problem.
Okay?
An interrogation room is an unusual setting for that kind of discussion, so to ease her concerns, the investigators told her it was the spot where they were least likely to be overheard, since the case details were highly sensitive. Sherry Rasmussen's body had been discovered in her residence after being shot 3 times. At the time, authorities believed the killing stemmed from a botched burglary, but the case went cold when they couldn't identify the perpetrator. However, 23 years later, while re-examining the file, detectives uncovered clues that pointed to Stephanie, a woman caught in a romantic triangle with Sherry and her spouse, John Rudin. So, the investigators chose to mention John's name to gauge her response.
Were you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends.
Yeah?
I mean, what's this all about?
It's a case we're working on and it involves John, and in there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were good friends. Lived in the dorms for 2 years.
Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated. You know, I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to his wife.
Both the investigators and Stephanie attempted to appear as pleasant and calm as they could around one another, but Stephanie is clearly beginning to grow extremely uneasy by this stage. Even though the investigators offered a fairly convincing reason, she now finds herself in an interrogation room, confronted by 2 officers, being asked about a woman she allegedly killed 2 decades earlier. Her breathing has quickened, her tone has turned defensive, and her gestures have grown noticeably more unstable.
And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, you know, I got a problem with that.
Okay.
Okay? So, you know, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, you know, now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
Obviously, you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that, you know, gets done on cases nowadays. You know, if we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Stephanie opts to offer a DNA sample, hoping her cooperation would eventually demonstrate her innocence. But sadly for her, just 5 minutes later, the investigators determine they've heard all they need and place her in handcuffs. Months afterward, following a lengthy and grueling courtroom battle, a verdict was reached by the jury.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Stephanie Eileen Lazarus, guilty of the crime of murder of Sherry Rasmussen. We further find the murder was of the 1st degree.
Stephanie received a 27-year prison sentence after being convicted on 1 felony count of 1st-degree murder. But for the next officer, Jalen Fleer, a lone felony charge seems like nothing more than a minor offense.
Can I ask, is this something I should have lawyers on?
In April 2020, San Diego authorities got reports that a man had been involved with a local minor. 2 months of probing led straight to Jalen and a flood of pressing questions that demanded answers.
So, I know that I have a lot to delve into, but I really want to get to know you first, if you don't mind.
Definitely.
Okay. So, I'm going to lean back and get comfortable. Just because... Are you comfortable? Do you want to take off your duty belt?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing?
Yeah, so... I will ask what this is about.
Yeah, so we're looking into some allegations that were made. We're kind of... It started with a Crime Stopper report, so we're just kind of going from there. We did receive a picture that, when we looked into it, it looked similar to you. So I don't know if you can take a look at the picture and just tell me if you've seen this picture before. Oh, I have like 15 million things here. Okay.
The moment the accusations are mentioned, Jalen appears noticeably tense. He leans forward cautiously in his seat, gently clasps his hands, and tightens his jaw. It's clear he's anxious about what he's about to see. The investigators have stated that he isn't under arrest and can walk out at any moment. However, she is clearly trying to make him comfortable, using a cheerful and approachable demeanor to calm him down.
So this picture right here.
Yeah, that's definitely me with the gross one.
Okay, so this picture right here, how old were you when it was taken?
I don't know, 20?
20? Okay, cool. That makes it very easy. So as far as like the picture, so this photo came up in connection with some allegations about you communicating with a younger female on Snapchat.
Okay. Can I ask, is this something I should have lawyers on?
Jalen is beginning to appear increasingly anxious. He starts to shift in his seat more often and becomes less forthcoming with his responses. But the tension he's experiencing now is nothing compared to what the investigator is about to hit him with.
So, this, like I said, this photo was sent to this person, so they were in possession of it, and we can't find any connection or reason why this photo would end up with this particular person if it wasn't shared by someone you may know or yourself.
I agree, yeah. My wife wouldn't have done that, so I don't know why she would share that. So...
Well, along with the photo came some additional information about your personal life.
Okay.
And based on some of the information you shared with me today, it seems to add up.
Okay.
The profile that posted the image and details was named J178211, a name that seemed like a random string of digits until you realized 17 was his college baseball jersey number, 82 was his high school jersey number, and 2011 was the year he finished school. If this account was run by someone claiming to be an enemy of Jalen, they had definitely done their homework.
Jay, I'll be very honest, I want to know the truth.
Yeah, no, I've never even heard of that account.
Okay. Have you ever shared any images of your with anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many times would you say you've done that?
A lot.
Did you ever share any videos of you having with anyone?
With anyone? No. I've always had personal videos of me and my wife. That was it. And my ex actually had one, but...
Jalen then sensibly decides that he's already answered enough of the officer's questions and requests a lawyer. However, unfortunately for him, he's swiftly presented with a search warrant authorizing the police to collect his DNA, mobile phone, and vehicle. Authorities used this to compile a large amount of evidence against Jalen, and just a few weeks later, he surrendered himself. Jalen was hit with 20 felony charges, including performing indecent acts with minors under 14, soliciting minors under 16, and engaging with a child under the age of 16. A few months later, he was handed a 12-year prison sentence. But this disturbing act doesn't even compare to the atrocities that Daniel Holtzclaw committed. Daniel was brought in for interrogation after a report came in that he'd made an unlawful traffic stop and forced the female driver to remove her clothing and perform on him. What detectives didn't know was that this was just one of dozens of other crimes that Daniel would find himself accused of.
So we have no misunderstanding because, and maybe I didn't key in on some things. I want you turn in your activity card, walk me through it all again.
Turn my activity card, I leave out of station, turn off my computer, done for the night, head left to go westbound on 50th from Prospect. About a block down, I see a Grand Prix in the outside lane. I was in the inside lane. Truck in front of me. Car swerved. At that time, I kind of fall behind of it. Lincoln, I didn't want to light it up at the stop sign, so I waited till it go forward and just lit it up just to the west. And then that's when I made a traffic stop.
Daniel shares his version of what happened that night. Officers noted that he didn't report the stop, run a records check on the driver through dispatch, or even notify them that he had just started his shift. Daniel simply claims that things happened so quickly, he forgot to do all of that and made the traffic stop off the record. However, Daniel doesn't appear completely confident while retelling the night. He takes oddly long pauses between statements and speaks in fragmented sentences. The harsh truth of cases like these is that it's almost always incredibly difficult to secure a conviction without any photo or video evidence of the incident. The victim often has little to no way to prove the accused actually committed the act, especially since in most jurisdictions, the suspect is presumed innocent until proven guilty. This is likely why this incident became just one of 36 charges eventually filed against Daniel, each one more revolting than the last.
CSI is processing your car right now.
Right.
And when we stepped out, they found some pubic hairs right in here. Could they be yours?
No, that's not, I didn't do anything right there.
Did she?
No.
But so you think they could be?
No, it's not. No. Nothing of mine.
Your pubes couldn't be?
No.
Right there?
No.
You seemed a little extra worried whenever you talked about seeing her boobies. You sure she just didn't flash you?
I can't, she did not flash. I don't want to say I can't recall, but I'm pretty positive she didn't flash.
I see a pair of titties.
She went like this, but nothing as far as I'm going like crazy looking.
Lifting the shirt.
No. This whole situation and
it's kind of scary.
It is scary, and I don't want my rep to be. Everything's about in law enforcement. I'm 3 years on. I know that, but everything's about your rep.
Absolutely.
And I don't want this to fall on my rep.
Sadly for Daniel, this would definitely impact his reputation, as DNA testing on the hair discovered in the vehicle returned a perfect match. Additionally, statements provided by his girlfriend directly conflicted with his account. Following the interrogation, he was put on administrative leave, but just 2 months later, a dozen more women came forward with allegations, and he was ultimately taken into custody.
Verdict, count 1, battery. Defendant is guilty of the crime of battery and set punishment at 8 years. Count 2, procuring lewd exhibition. Not guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition. Count 3, burglary in the first degree. Defendant is not guilty of the crime of burglary in the first degree, nor lesser included. Count 4, procuring lewd exhibition. Defendant is guilty of the crime of procuring lewd exhibition, and punishment is set at 5 years.
Daniel was convicted on 18 out of the 36 counts and handed a 263-year prison sentence with no chance of parole.